Hey y'all, today I'm making a story time / children video, and you know what I got to do, and then while I tell the story, I want to start off the story by explaining what happened when I woke up. So my grandma woke me up. She came in my room and she was like, Alisha, get up, like wake up, get out the bed, get out the house. That's what she said, get out the house. And immediately my first instinct was that my house was being broken into. So I was scared, of course, and then I walked into the kitchen to leave the house, and I seen that the roof was on fire. And then my grandpa told us to get out, but I was too focused on the fact that everybody was not out yet, and my grandpa stayed in. He went outside and they started moving cars and moving everything that we owned that he could reach, and it wasn't a lot of stuff, but it didn't make it anyway. But he made it out. That's all that matters. There were a lot of people, so many people, and none of them really I knew besides my uncle and my cousin. Other than that, there was really nobody there that was like, it was just like, why are you here? Like, you stopped because you saw a fire? But it was like a really bad fire, like nothing was left. Everything outside of our house was burnt, even the vehicles. So that's why my grandpa was moving vehicles, because he saw it coming. He knew that it was going to be a really hot fire, that nothing was going to be left, and it was true. And then after the fire department came, we eventually got in contact with Red Cross, and then they came a couple hours later and they made sure we were okay, gave us a bag of stuff like toothbrushes, deodorant, mouthwash, a rag, toothpaste, stuff like that. And that is definitely somebody you can depend on when something like that happens, or at least for me, we could depend on it. I don't know how it works for everybody else. I didn't even really know what Red Cross was until this happened, but it is a really good if something like that does happen to you. After Red Cross left, we went to Walmart, and we went to Walmart, and I was able to save $1,500, but my brother lost $14,000 in cash under his bed, and then my grandpa lost all of his stuff that was valuable that we used as like side hustles, like selling and trading and stuff. I'm not gonna say what it is because it's not bad, it's just I don't know the restrictions on here. We lost everything but $1,500 that I was saving on a car, and my grandpa broke through the window and he got my $1,500, and I thought that it was really a coincidence that it was sitting there, because I always hated sitting it on that specific shelf because it was right next to my window. I wanted it in my drawer put up, but I sat it on the shelf because I was too lazy to walk over and put it on my vanity. And when the fire happened, it just happened to be right above my window on the shelf. So my grandpa broke through, and I told him, I was like, it's right there. And he grabbed it. And we got that, and we went to Walmart. And even if we didn't have that, we would have been okay from all the donations. We ended up having like a total of $10,000 in donations that let us buy a house. And we went to Walmart and bought clothes and things that we could eat for that night and stuff, just to unwind. And it was just crazy to think about how everybody could have felt. They could feel similar to how I felt in the situation, and that I was worried about everybody else. more than myself because I didn't have as much to lose being a teenage girl. My brother had a lot to lose because he's a gamer. He had PCs and guitars and the money and his whole setup and everything. My grandpa his stuff, my grandma her stuff, me my stuff. It just wasn't, it was just mainly clothes and memorable things. It's kind of still hard, just low-key to talk about. Not to get emotional, but it was really hard to deal with. I'm not gonna lie, it did affect me. I still to this day can't even really cook. And this was at the beginning of last year, like right at the beginning, January 31st, I believe. And it was crazy to know that something like that could happen to you regardless of what you're already going through, regardless of your financial problems. You have to be careful. After that, we moved into my first house, and that was an okay place. It's just that the guy wanted too much for it, so we had to find something else because he wasn't giving us an exact time that we needed to be out, but he was doing us a favor by letting us rent out the house. There was just too much, like we didn't really have any privacy because it wasn't ours. And then we moved to this house. Thanks to all the donations, we were able to get a pretty good sized house. I lived downstairs in the garage and the spare bedroom, and I'm really thankful for everything that I have and everything that I've been able to get back. What I wish I knew was that you do have to move stuff, like the moving the cars. You really need to make sure that when something like that happens, you're thinking ahead of time at what is most important right now. Think about how you're going to leave. Think about, what if this doesn't get fixed in time? What else could burn if this whole thing goes up in flames, like trees behind your house? Anything. I mean, you can't move a tree, but just keep it in mind. Baking soda. You need to keep baking soda on you at all times. Just, especially when cooking, because it was started by a grease fire. My grandpa was making me macaroni and cheese and literally some fries, and the water overflowed into the grease on a regular stove, and it just, grease fire, you know. But another thing that I recommend is a fireproof safe. If you're not into keeping money on your card for whatever reason and you want to keep your money in cash, you need a fireproof safe. Do not make the same mistake. Anyway, if you like this video, please make sure to give it a like and subscribe. And comment if you've ever been through anything similar. Please take from the story my advice and do all the things that I said to prevent anything like that from happening. I love y'all.